Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back to another episode reaction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Haarute, and it's Matt. Hello, what's up? So, I just saw a video on Twitter that was like a bit of like a talk show or something where Sarah Michelle Gellar talked about working in the Scooby-Doo movie, and she mentioned how there was like a deleted scene where Velma and Daphne kissed, and she was like, people want to see that, where is it? And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. This has nothing to do with anything, by the way. I just saw it literally right before I started recording, and I was like, I didn't know Sarah Michelle Gellar was Daphne. I watched that movie. I just don't remember it. So yeah. Anyway, that's just only tangentially related to the show. Speaking of Sarah Michelle Gellar, she was a great actress in the last episode. She performed amazingly. So that episode was pretty good. I enjoyed it. So yeah, last time we got a men's. We got at the episode where we talked Angel down from suicide a little bit, and I don't know if we were successful, but God said, no, you're not dying, my son. So that's what happened. We got a Christmas miracle. It snowed, and there was no sun, and God, I wish that were me, but here we are. Oz and Willow got back together. They made amends, and we're introduced to maybe a new thing that's going to be recurring, at least for this season, which is the evil entity. Not sure if this is going to be something that matters too much, but let's say that maybe, because they did mention something like they have a plan of sorts. So we'll see where this goes. Anyway, I said it last week, but we're kind of on a roll here. Like, we're in a pretty good streak, because I feel like the last, 3 episodes have all been pretty fucking good. So, yeah, I'm just excited to watch more Buffy. Sorry, it's been like a week since I recorded anything, or over a week. When was the last time I recorded? It's been a little bit. I haven't had the time or energy or motivation, or I've just been ill, and just a bunch of stuff regarding mostly weather that made me so I've been really slow on video uploads, and I'm sorry about that, but that's just kind of how things work out for me right now. It's funny because this exact same thing happened last year, and I'm not sure if I remember right, but maybe it happened the year before that too. And it's essentially whenever summer starts, which for you guys in the northern hemisphere would be winter, you can expect me to for the channel to just take a hit, right? It will continue to exist, and there will still be videos out, but they're gonna be slower than usual. So yeah, this is just a warning for the next year already, in case you didn't already know. Whenever we hit December, it's gonna get a little rough. Okay, let us begin. I don't know if I have anything else to say regarding the show. Let's just watch the episode. So, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 3, Episode 11. Let's go.
Is it a vampire? I brought you a snack. I thought it was about time for me to come out and watch.
Okay, sure. There's an inherent risk that you may die, but this is kind of fun.
Good, honey, kill him! Oh my god! It's Mr. Sanderson from the bank.
Oh man, pour one out for Mr. Sanderson. She's trying to be a supportive mom. That's fun.
Oh god.
Look at, yeah, like a dead child or something. Ooh, children plural. I mean, this is just the thing that happens daily in this godforsaken town. We should be desensitized to it at this point. I mean, I suppose you usually just see it on the news instead of the children dead in front of you, so that might be a little bit different, but...
They were little kids who could do something like this. I'm so sorry that you had to see this, but I promise everything's gonna be okay. How? Because I'm gonna find whatever did it.
That's just gonna make her worry more.
You can't make it right.
That's also true. You can't undo it.
My mom can't even talk.
I'm sorry, I just want to help.
They have very suspicious markings on their... It looked like an Illuminati symbol with a mustache. I mean, just a triangle with a mustache, really.
Suggests a ritual murder, an occult sacrifice by a group.
Human beings. Someone with a soul did this.
Buffy, girl, children get killed in real life. It's not just monsters.
Oh, it's completely personal. Giles, find me the people that did this. Please.
Hey. Hey.
Hi.
So a burrito.
Bro, just shut up. Just shut up. Just don't talk to him.
Sander? Hi.
Hey, Amy.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Amy. I like your new hair.
Ain't
I haven't seen you
that's
all day.
fucking
What are you doing?
Amy?
Not with me. No, sir. Ask anyone. No.
Oh my god. Dude, just Oz has the patience of a saint.
So Buffy's birthday's next week.
Ooh.
Ooh, what's up?
You guys didn't hear?
Hear what?
Child murder.
My mom found the bodies during patrol last night. She picked last night of all nights for a surprise bonding visit.
God, your mom would actually take the time to do that with you?
She's completely wigging.
Who's wigging?
Hi.
It might be something ritual. Called. But he's still looking.
Like witches.
Sorry, I'm too much. Dare.
Anybody who could do this has to be a monster. It's
You know what? Would you guys excuse us for a little bit?
Nice to see you.
I love that the both of them were like,
I keep thinking about who could have done such a thing. I have to help. I called everybody I know in town. I told them about the dead children. They're all just as upset as I am. We're setting up a vigil for tonight for City Hall. The mayor is even going to be there. Now we are going to get some action.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm sure there won't be all that many people.
Hard cut to thousands of people. There we go. That's how this show works. It's like funny that you can tell exactly when, like, what the joke's gonna be. Even before they say it, because I read the subtitles.
Standing right in front of me right this second.
Willow's mom. Is this the first time we see her?
Hi, Bunny.
Hi.
Yes, that's me. Bunny.
You cut off your hair. That's a new look.
Yeah, it's just a sudden whim I had in August.
I like it.
Okay. We're learning things about Willow's family, Sandra's family, Buffy's family. Okay, this is the parents episode. Mrs. Joyce. Hi.
Lieutenant, you have here.
Oh, well, it's not just me, but thank you.
Not for a while.
Just
There's a rumor going around, Mr. Giles,
Rumor about us? About what?
shit.
about witches.
Oh my fucking god.
I recently co-authored a paper about the rise of mysticism among adolescents.
Oh my fucking god. Did Joyce like accidentally put on a hit list on Willow and Amy? Amy is in this episode, so she might matter. It's gonna be a literal witch hunt.
Mr. Mayor, you're dead wrong. This is not a good town.
Shit happens every day.
How many of us have lost someone who just disappeared?
She's right, but also this is like
Or suffered neck eruption. Silence is this town's disease.
everyone's gonna be
Too
super
long.
paranoid.
This isn't our town anymore. It belongs to the monsters and the witches and the slayers. They say it's time for the grown-ups to take Sunnydale back by finding the people who did this and making them pay.
Oh boy. Like, does she not realize that this is just immediately gonna lead into everyone who's like a normal person just going after everyone else? Going after her main cast here? After her own daughter? I mean, she's not thinking like that far ahead. She's entirely acting out of like emotional impulse. Ooh. Was that Amy? It's difficult to tell now with the different hair. Ooh. Willow's here. They didn't kill the children. I don't believe that. This is the show trying to get you. I'm pretty sure.
Everyone knows he's into that voodoo witch crap. I heard about those kids. People like him gotta learn a lesson.
Scared of Buff? This is the Outcasts episode.
If you're gonna hang with them, expect badness. Because that's what you get when you hang with freaks and losers. Believe me, I know.
Okay, this is your outlook
That
now.
was a pointed comment about me hanging with you guys.
Yeah, I got that.
Thank you.
Besides, witches didn't do it.
Actually, I think they may have. One piece of information I need that's in a book that Willow borrowed. Can you find it?
This is the episode where we suspect our friends.
I'm getting sick of the judgment, the innuendos. Is a man not innocent until proven guilty?
You are guilty.
Everyone expects me to mess up again. Like Oz. I see how he is around me.
He's paranoid.
He speaks volumes with his eyes.
There we go.
That symbol was on the murdered children.
step back. Stay away from the lockers. This is police business.
Right.
The books? Oh man, it's Nazi Germany and I've got Playboys in my locker.
This is a glorious day for principals everywhere.
This is like a weird ass episode for the show, because this is a weird episode where the show becomes like a real show.
Please, you have to believe me.
Ms. Rosenberg, my office.
Mr. Giles, why do you have 17 crossbows and spears and swords?
Snyder has interfered before, but I won't take this from that twisted little homunculus.
I love the smell of a desperate librarian in the morning. Lift a finger against me and you'll have to answer to Moo.
Answer to Moo?
Mother is opposed to the occult. A powerful new group.
And who came up with that lame name?
Your mom.
Oh, sit down, honey.
Mom, I know what this looks like, and I can
You don't have to explain, honey. This isn't exactly a surprise. Oh, well, identification with mythical icons is perfectly typical of your age group. It's a classic adolescent response to the pressures of incipient adulthood. Wish you could have identified with something a little less icky, but developmentally speaking.
Mom, I'm not an age group. I'm me. Willow group.
Oh, honey.
She looks like the kind of parent that just categorizes people into just not people.
The last time we had a conversation over 3 minutes, it was about the patriarchal bias of the Mr. Rogers.
Well, I've consulted with some of my colleagues, and they agree that this is a cry for discipline. You're grounded.
Grounded. I'm supposed to mess up. I'm a teenager, remember?
You're upset. I hear you.
No, you don't.
I'm a rebel. I'm having a rebellion.
Willow, honey, you don't need to act out like this to prove your specialness.
I can make pencils float, and I can summon the 4 elements. Okay, 2, but 4 soon. And I'm dating a musician.
There's also a werewolf.
Oh, Willow.
That's the part that got her.
I worship Beelzebub.
Ooh.
I do his biddings. Do you see any goats around? No, because I sacrifice
please.
them. Prince of Night, I summon you. Come fill me with your black, naughty evil.
That's enough! We're gonna make some changes. I don't want you hanging out with those friends of yours. You will not speak to Bunny Summers again.
I don't want you seeing that Willow anymore.
You're the one who ordered the raid on the school today.
Honey, they opened a few lockers.
They took all of Giles' books away.
He'll get most of them back.
If we're gonna solve this, we need those books now.
Those books have no place in a public school library, especially now.
Mom, I hate that these people scared you so much. And I know that you're just trying to help, but you have to let me handle this.
But is it really? I mean, you patrol, you slay. Evil pops up, you undo it, and that's great. But is Sunnydale getting any better? You don't have a plan. You just react to things. It's bound to be kind of fruitless.
Maybe next time that the world is getting sucked into hell, I won't be able to stop it because the anti-hell sucking book isn't on the approved reading list.
I didn't mean to put down...
Yeah, well, you did. A nice acronym, Mom.
It is kind of a shit acronym.
Just trying to make things better.
You are, and we can't sleep.
Not until you hurt them.
The way they hurt us.
Okay, so this is what has been going on. She's actually being shown images of the dead children.
It's strange. People die in Sunnydale all the time. I've never seen anything like this.
I mean, yeah, this is like the first time anyone has ever cared.
Innocent. It makes a difference.
Were they innocent? I don't trust them. I don't trust those children.
Is Sunnydale any better than when I first came here?
You stop hell like once or twice. Twice.
There's a lot I don't understand. I do know it's important to keep fighting. I learned that from you.
Oh.
It's not why we fight. We do it because there's things worth fighting for.
Yeah.
There's kids, their parents.
Their parents.
What's up with those kids' parents?
What do we know about these kids?
What?
Facts, details. What are their names? We know everything about their deaths. We don't even know their names.
They're not real kids. I didn't trust them.
1949.
Yeah, they ain't ours. Keep going.
Those are the same kids.
50 years ago.
Ho ho.
How is this possible?
There's no mention of who they were.
They've never been seen alive, just dead.
From as far back as 1649.
The fact that there's logs from like 1649 in like 98 internet that we could literally just pull up as quickly as that, I don't believe that. That would be difficult to do now.
I thought I made myself clear. You're not minding me.
Mom!
I see what you're doing. You're challenging me, but I will not have you communicating with your cyber coven or what have you.
What happened to me being delusional and acting out?
Oh, that was before I talked in depth with Miss Summers and her associates. I believe you, dear.
And that's why I'm gonna burn you at a stake.
Let you go with love.
Let me go? What does that mean?
Alright. Lovely.
Fairy tales are real.
Okay.
Hans and
It makes sense now.
yeah, it's all falling into place.
That's wild.
Not by destroying men, but by watching men destroy each other.
Which
They
is what
feed
we're
us our
doing.
darkest fear and turn peaceful communities into vigilantes.
What happened?
I was attacked.
Angry mob, killing witches.
I'm talking about a trial down at City Hall. They got Amy.
I mean, the only way this works is that everyone
we
is
really
being
have
mind
to talk.
controlled, basically.
Go.
Go where?
I said get your coat, witch.
Mom, we need to talk to you. Now.
Well, of course, honey. Go on without me.
There's more to this than we...
Yep. Of course.
It was easy.
I told you. It gets even easier. But I'm still
Why was the child holding the chloroform? Are they real? Are they corporeal? I was under the assumption that they were just images that projected into your mind.
Why are you doing this to me? Mom!
There's no cure but the fire.
Wake up.
Cordelia? Thank you, Cordelia, for seeing the day once again.
And then my mom confiscates all of my black clothes and scented candles.
How dare she?
How many times have you been knocked out anyway? I swear, one of these times you're gonna wake up in a coma.
Wake up in a... Oh, never mind.
That's gonna come back, by the way. They're gonna grab that line and make an episode about it. He's like wanna wake up outside of his body while he's in a coma or some shit.
I wanted a normal, happy daughter. Instead, I got a Slayer.
This is like an incredibly traumatic event.
All right. You want to fry a witch? I'll give you a witch.
Do something.
Goddess Hecate, work thy will before thee let the unclean thing crawl.
Oh, fuck yes. Whatever's gonna happen, I wanna see it. This will be the last time we see Amy, by the way. Oh, she transformed into a rat!
You will all be turned into vermin. And some of you will be fish. Yeah, you in the back will be fish.
You have to kill the bad girl.
There's like a woman being like, hey, I'll burn them! Man, I'm watching Bleach and now I'm watching Burn the Witch. Hell yeah.
You're not gonna be able to live with yourself if you do this.
You earned this. You toyed with unnatural forces.
You're toying with the natural forces. Yeah! Get him!
Cordelia, put out the fire!
Oh, right.
Hinter falschen Gesichtern.
Oh! Not what I expected. Okay, now we gotta fight it. We gotta have a cool fight.
Kill the bad girls.
Now, you look evil now. We're not gonna listen to you.
Did I get it?
Cool! That's so fucking funny. I love that.
We're here to save you.
A little too late, but I appreciate it.
She's doing that selective memory thing your mom used to be so good at.
She forgot everything.
She remembered the part where I said I was dating a musician.
Oh, the worst part.
Diana Hecate, I hereby license thee to depart. I conjure thee to withdraw.
And Amy comes back. Maybe we fucked up the spell somehow.
Maybe we should get her one of those wheel thingies.
Is Amy just a rat now? Is Amy just a rat now? She's gonna come back at some point. It would be too sad if she just became a rat forever. Okay, that was an interesting episode because as I was watching it, I had this feeling, and I couldn't put it into words because I was focusing on watching the episode, but it was this weird thing where it felt like such a weird thing for the show to do, because the show so far has kind of been operating on this thing where, like, yeah, shit just happens and there's like monsters and paranormal shit and people die in the school every day, but like nobody gives a shit, right? Like every time it happens, it's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, nobody questions it. And even if some people do, the reality is that if this was real life, it would be more fucked up. Due to the episodic nature of the show, it means that, like, even if something fucked up does happen, like, we had Dead Man's Party, where there were, like, I don't know, 10 kids that were killed at Buffy's house. But, like, we don't talk about that. Like, after that episode happened, whatever, soft reset button. It didn't happen. Shut up. Canonically, it did happen, but the consequences of the episode don't really carry over too much. And this is what happens with every episode. This is just the nature of the episodic formula of the show. This episode was weird because within the episode, we have adults actually go like, you know what? Yeah, this town is weird and fucked up, and there's a lot of bad things happening, and there's children dying, and we gotta do something about that. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. This happens every episode. So the body count is insanely high in this fucking town, to the point that it's like comical how much they don't address it in the show. Usually, this episode was essentially a writer coming in and just being like, okay, but what if we did address it though? What if people did give a shit? And this is also kind of why fucking Ted. Bringing up Ted again. This is also why kind of Ted threw me for a loop, because when Ted happened, it was like the first time the show took itself seriously, right? Like, it was like the first time, I mean, until the halfway point, where Buffy kills some dude, and then the police comes over and they interrogate her and everything. And it's this weird, like, dramatic and serious thing that also, due to the nature of the abusive household point, I was sitting here like, oh shit, this is real. This is like the first time the show's like real for once. And then it turned into funny fetish robot thing at the end. But whatever. But that's my point. It's that, like, the show usually doesn't do that. So whenever this episode happens, when we have this entire, like, association of parents just being like, we're concerned about children fucking dying and anyone dying, really. This town is fucked. And all sorts of weird supernatural stuff happens, and it's like, okay, yes. And something I did notice that I'm going to point out right now before I forget about it, but it's Joyce mentioned slayers specifically. She mentioned monsters and whatever, and you can take monsters as like, okay, she could mean anything, but she specifically used the word slayers. And then I'm pretty sure you see the mayor looking at her like, oh. And I'm gonna file that for later, because I'm gonna imagine that the mayor is like, okay, that woman knows about, like, the real shit that goes on behind the scenes, because we know the mayor is most likely probably evil. So we're gonna file that for later, that he knows that she knows. Okay, moving on. This entire episode, ultimately, it is ironic because it feels like it's gonna soft reset next episode again, you know, because in this episode, it's like, oh my god, all the parents started turning into their, like, against their children, and it started burning them and killing them, and it's like, yes, but then I'm pretty sure next episode we're not gonna care anymore. Next episode, it's like, all right, everything's back to normal. We're not gonna address it. We're not gonna talk about it. Maybe we'll mention it in like one line of dialogue, just to reference the fact that it canonically occurred. But we're not gonna show any like lasting effects of it. And that's like ironic nature of this episode, because as soon as it ended, I'm like, okay, this is not gonna matter, right? Because if it did matter, then we're gonna spend a long time dealing with the psychological repercussions and scars that would leave on every child who's literally being burned at the stake by their parent. Like, that's a fucked up scenario. That's nightmarish, and they are gonna not be okay after that. And ideally we would deal with that, but I don't think the show's gonna do that. I think we're just gonna move on and just focus on the next storyline. And that's fine, because the nature of the show makes it so that's the way it works. But it's ironic because this is the one episode where we actually do care about some of the heavy shit that happens in the show. And that's the entire plot. But next episode, we're not going to care about this plot anymore. Something that may carry over is Amy. Amy's a rat now. So I'm going to say Amy's going to come back as actually a person. I don't think she's going to be a rat forever. Maybe she's going to be a rat for a little while, you know, like, because I also don't think Amy has like a family situation anymore. Her mom is like a statue, and I don't think she has a dad. So she probably lives home alone. and she's just a rat now, so whatever. I guess there's no one that's gonna make a big mess out of her not being around anymore, so maybe she's just gonna be a rat for like, I don't know, a couple months until the crew finds a solution, and she will be relevant when that episode does eventually happen. Alternatively, she's gonna turn back into a human off screen, and we're just not gonna know about it until next time she shows up in like 10 episodes, 20, 30, and then it's like, oh, Amy, hi, what's up? Wasn't that weird how you were a rat for like a couple days that one time? Yeah, haha. Anyway, this is the line of dialogue referencing how we solved that. How have you been? Something like that. You could do something like that. Alternative, I do kind of wish she becomes a rat for like a little bit though. Like I do kind of wish we get another episode where she's in it and she's a rat, and like halfway through the episode she becomes real again, and then Amy's like an integral part of that episode. That's something I want to see. But I do like that we saw Amy again. I'm glad that we got to see Amy again. I am also glad that I remember Amy's name, because if I didn't, I would not have known who that was. She looks so different. She's just straight on went for a full makeover. Like, she went from having long blonde hair, and now she has more like a buff cut kind of thing, and she dyed it, or she stopped dyeing it. I'm not sure which one is. And now her hair is not even black. It's like dark brown or something like that. If it was black, I would be more down for it. Also, I just don't think I like that haircut very much, but it's fine. I'll get used to it. But it was great to see her again. We also got introduced to another goth boy. A goth boy. I don't know his name. I don't think he's gonna matter. Well, maybe he will actually, because we did see Willow and Amy and that goth boy doing some ritual shit. And I trust Willow. I trust that they were doing some kind of protection spell or whatever. So that means that boy is also into that weird shit. Okay, sure. I don't know his name. I don't care. We'll see if he becomes a real person if we see him again later. If we do, then I'll try to remember his name then. But until that point, the only person that really matters right now is Amy as a side character that will show up again. Maybe I like seeing Amy again. I every time this happens, I'm happy because like this is something that I was immediately able to. I don't know if identify, because I wasn't sure, but it's one of those things that I was able to, I suppose, identify that it would be a good thing to do in a show like this. Because I remember when I watched the witch episode, the third episode of Buffy season 1, which was actually like the first episode I watched of the show that made me go like, oh yeah, I really like this. And it was also the first episode I recorded that I enjoyed like very much. And also before I posted the videos on YouTube. So it's like, it's the perfect episode before I got literally any input from anyone, and I was just sitting here just enjoying my time with the show. So that's like the purest reaction you'll get out of me from Buffy, like the witch episode reaction. I really enjoyed that episode. I enjoyed my time with it. And I remember when I watched it, one of my thoughts, I'm pretty sure it said it. It was like, I kind of wish that a character like Amy is going to show up again. Like, in my mind, I was thinking maybe she will become recurring and we'll see her every other episode. Not so much, but she did show up a couple more times, and I'm happy whenever she does. And I'm glad that this is something that the show recognizes as something that it should do, because I think it's incredibly good for world building. Like, it's not so much world building as much as it is building up a community. So every character you encounter on a random episode that you think really doesn't matter very much, they have the opportunity to show up again. And that makes it so you feel like, oh yeah, this show is continual. This show is a thing. This world is a thing. Characters matter. And I'm glad to see them again. She's a rat now. We got to see Willow's mom. I'm not sure if we saw her before. I don't think we did. And it's interesting because last week we got like Xander's parents. We got explicitly in text exactly what the relationship between Xander and his parents are, and how his parents are not a good relationship, and he wants to not be at home, especially at Christmas, because they're just gonna get drunk and fight each other, and Xander prefers to literally sleep outside than to deal with that shit. And by the way, I was told by someone on Patreon that apparently there was an and I think I remember the scene, I just hadn't thought about it. Apparently there was a scene like season 2. There was a point where characters needed to stay over to like work some case or something at the library, and Xander, like we see a cut of like all of them calling their parents and being like, I'm gonna be late or whatever. And there was like a small scene where Xander called his mom and was like, hey mom, it's me. And then he says Xander, almost like he had to like specify who exactly she was talking to. So it's one of those things where like she didn't recognize who it was, which is something that you can kind of connect into like, oh, okay, I get it. They don't have a close relationship. But it wasn't beyond that, which also could have just been like a funny joke. Beyond that, we really haven't gotten anything else from the Xander parental situation until last week. And this week we got to see Willow's mom specifically. I mean, we got to learn a little bit about the dad, which is the dad is not at home. Okay, that's I guess that's the situation with him. But the mom... Okay, we need another episode with Willow's mom, because the way this worked out for Willow's mom is unfortunate, because she's fucking psychopathic in this episode, but that's not her fault. She was being mind controlled by the ghost of a dead troll children, or whatever. So I can't judge her character based on what we saw in this episode, but it is unfortunate that this is the only episode she's been in so far. But we did get a little bit as to what the relationship is, which is Willow's mom, and I immediately was able to tell, by the way. They did a great job with the dialogue, because I was able to tell what kind of person she was, which is I wouldn't be surprised if she's like a therapist. So she is the kind of person who, like, someone is in front of you and explicitly telling you how they feel or what's going on with them or a situation, and your response is like a textbook response. Like, she's talking about like, oh yeah, children of your group age is completely normal that you would do something like this, and she's treating her kind of more like a statistic more than a person. And that's just kind of the relationship that they have. And Willow kind of explicitly states multiple times like, we don't talk very much, and this is like the first time we interact, and you're acting like this. And then we get to see how Willow starts essentially acting like a rebel, almost to like prove a point against the mom, after the mom said you're acting like a rebel by doing this shit. So then Willow was like, oh, you want to see a rebel? I'm gonna be a rebel. I worship Beelzebub. You're just like, she just starts going off on this like almost like incredibly exaggerated, but that's very on brand for a teenager, tirade of just like all of the fucked up shit that you could say to like a white Christian parent, in order to just get a reaction out of her. And it's funny because she was like, oh, you're trying to do all of these things because you're trying to get some kind of like weird attention or something, so it's okay, I'm gonna ground you. Because in her mind she's like, if I ground her, that's actually what she wants me to actually interact with her. And it's like, bitch, you're the problem. Even if that were true, your response should be like, oh, maybe I should do something about that, instead of like, okay, what's the correct procedure? Oh my god. So that's Willow's mom. So Willow's home situation seems to be, I am not being given like not just attention but like care, you know. And my mom kind of acts under this guise of I do care, but she never talks to me and she never does anything for me. Like, she tries to be proper and well behaved, but ultimately she doesn't really connect with you on an intimate level, which is ultimately what you want out of a human connection. So that's Willow's home situation. That was Xander's home situation last week. And we also got to see, I mean, we get to see Buffy's home situation every week, really, whenever Joyce shows up. So we don't really have to talk about that. But it was interesting. I mean, it is interesting to see Joyce being so emotionally struck by seeing this dead children and stuff. That was interesting. I enjoyed seeing that. She was being possessed by a troll demon almost. Or not like possessed, but like mentally suggested. Because like there has to be a level of suggestion, because otherwise your brain wouldn't rationally just accept that you see dead children. the fact that you're seeing that children means that there's a level of mind control that you like, it's going through your brain and you're just kind of rolling with it. So yes, she was being mind controlled by dead children troll demon or whatever. I like the troll demon because it showed up and he was like, oh, work for me, and everyone's like, yeah, no, you look ugly and bad now. You look evil coded, so we're not gonna listen to you anymore. We're just gonna run away from you. And then he was like, oh, I'm gonna fight, and Buffy just kills it without meaning to. She just like breaks the pole she was being tied to, and then she accidentally killed it. And the shot where she's just like kind of bending over and she's like, did I do it? And then you just see it, and the dude just has this like giant pole through his neck, and Buffy's just like bending over like, I can't see, guys, what's going on? That's funny. I enjoyed that. That was good. And then Xander and Oz just fall through the roof, and he's like, we came here to help. That's funny. Cordelia saved the day again. I'm just saying, Cordelia's good. I like that. There was a little bit of drama regarding, you know, Joyce essentially telling Buffy like, hey, you're not doing enough. Like, you think you're doing something, you're changing the world, but ultimately you're not really doing anything. You're doing jack shit. Like, you kill vampires, sure. Like, do they ever stop? And the answer is no. So Buffy kind of starts doubting herself, but it's like, I get it. The hero of the story doubts themselves, and we gotta have this dramatic pull. But like, she literally has stopped hell like twice now. Like, she stopped the Master and hell in the first season. And in the second season, she stopped like the merger of realities with hell. So if you think about it for a little bit, it's like, Buffy, don't worry, you're doing good, girl. And Angel kind of tells her this too, which is kind of the point. He's like, hey, like, sure, it doesn't stop, but you accomplish things. Like, you're not doing this for a goal. You're doing this because, hey, you're helping the person that's in front of you right now. Like, even if there will be another vampire tomorrow, it doesn't mean that you have to stop today. And whatever good you might have accomplished today, like, even if tomorrow is bad, it doesn't mean that what you accomplished today was nothing. It did have meaning. And I like that Angel was like, you are the one that taught me that. So it's like, oh, that's cool. I like that. So that was like the one dramatic scene in this episode that like actually matters. Because every other dramatic scene, like regarding like, oh, the entire town is aware now and they're turning on our main cast, like all that shit is just like, yeah, whatever, they were possessed by a demon, we don't talk about that anymore. Next episode everything's gonna be fine. So that's how I feel regarding everything else. The relationship with Snyder is weird because it's almost like they all know that Snyder is like a, I don't know what the fuck he is, but he's an agent of evil, and not just like in a funny sense, but like literally he's actually doing bad things and he knows what he's doing. So the relationship is weird because it's like, yeah, the school principal is one of the main antagonists, but we don't really talk about him. Like we're not gonna address him. Like Buffy should kill him in his sleep, but we're not gonna do that. We don't do that. We're good guys, and we don't actually give a shit about Snyder until he shows up in the episode and actually ruins our lives. So that's just interesting to me how like Snyder is an active like character, like an active antagonist, and we don't really do anything about that. But like it seems like they at least have an understanding, like a feel that he actually does work for evil. But yeah, that's just the Snyder situation. To me, it's interesting. I like that even if Cordelia doesn't want to be with the gang, and she actively says it, we got to see Cordelia like in the episode solving an issue, which is like she got Giles in, she made the concoction in order to use for the spell, the German spell that Giles used. Like she actually did show up and she actually did help out save the day, even though she doesn't want to be involved with the people in the main cast. But at the same time, she was like, yeah, my mom took all my black clothing and stuff, and I wanted to come to Buffy so maybe Buffy could fix this shit. It's like, okay, like even though she says like she doesn't want to like have anything to do with them, reality is that she is involved still. She still cares. Maybe not so much about Sander, but she was like, okay, I'll talk to Buffy so she can solve this shit. She's gonna act tough, but ultimately she's still a friend. Okay, I don't know what else I can talk about in this episode. There's probably more things to talk about. I mean, at one point in the episode, it really felt like, okay, we're doing the outcasts are actually good people bit. which it became more apparent when the bullies are coming over and just like bullying the goth kid, and it's just like, oh, the weirdos that don't talk to anyone, they're actually the good guys. And it's the so-called free thinkers, the sheeple that just listen to what everyone says, and they will go out and become the angry mob and fuck up all the good people, which are the minority. And it's like, okay, it's just a trope, really. But okay, I don't know what else I can say about this episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing Amy again. I don't know about her haircut, but sure, you go girl, do your thing. I like continuity. I hope there's continuity to this. Alright, I think that's gonna be it. Sorry if this was a quick like review thing. I don't know what else to say. I literally just skimmed through the entire episode and I'm like, man, I don't know. Also, I feel like I really like had more energy today than I usually do. So I'm like, I just sped ran through this entire discussion. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm sorry if that's not as much content as you expected, or maybe it's better because I got to say words really quickly instead of across the span of an hour. So okay, that's gonna be it for this reaction video. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. See you next week. Alright everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this reaction episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you'd like to watch the next 2 episode reactions, you can already do so over at the Patreon. Check out the link in the description below. Check out my social media, all sorts of cool stuff that I do, all the links on screen. I'll see you guys next time. Take care everybody. Bye bye.